Hi, broadcasting not live from a small town near Guadalajara, Mexico. I'm Bill the Geek, and this is the Bill Dallas Lewis channel. I've lived in Mexico for 17 years, and I've had a lot of fun here. I love living here. So on the Bill Dallas Lewis channel, we try to share with you the joys of living in Mexico. In this video, our tour guide, Lucie, that we met a couple of weeks ago, is going to give us a tour of Colima, Mexico. All of Lucie's contact information is below in the description, and there's a link to an interview we did with Lucie below in the description. It's a 27-minute interview, and you can learn all about the tours that she gives: tequila tours, Guadalajara tours, Tlaquepaque tours, Colima tours, volcano tours, so you might want to check out that video. This video is all about a one-day tour that Lucie gave us, and she's going to take us to 3 different places. The first place she's going to take us is to the bullring. And this bullring has great historic value. They tear it down and rebuild it every year, and they don't use any nails or cement. They build this whole thing with natural materials, and they've been building and rebuilding this bullring for 165 years. Then she's going to take us to a historic site. There are things in this site that go back 3,700 years. It's unbelievable. La Campana, that's what it's called, and it was a great part of the tour. The third place she took us in the tour was downtown Colima. We're going to walk through the streets, go to the plaza, we'll see the church. Colima is a nice place. Please excuse some of the audio. Most of the audio is pretty good. I had my mic with me, and I tried to stay as close to Lucie as I could so the sound would be good, but sometimes it might fade out just a little bit, but for the most part, the audio is good. At the very end of the video, after we go through Colima, we had a mystical experience at the archaeological site, and it involved the drone, so we'll share that mystical moment with you at the very end of the video. Before we move along, for those of you that don't know where Colima is, you can see it says start here at the top of the map. I'm coming down from a place near Colima, Mexico, took the bus into Guadalajara, and then south for a 3-hour bus ride to Colima down at the bottom. You can see the blue lake in the middle. At the top of that lake is Chapala and Ajijic. So Colima is quite a bit warmer, more humid climate than Guadalajara, Ajijic, or Chapala.
Welcome to La Petatera. La Petatera has been ongoing for 165 years now.
What does that mean?
La Petatera is exactly this structure. It's a bull ring, basically, that is built every year, starting after on December 26th, around those dates, up until the first few days of February, which is when the festivities for the town of Villa de Alvarez start.
Okay.
Now, La Petatera is basically named because of this. This is called a petate.
Okay.
And the petate is woven like a palm leaf, dried palm leaf, and it is used and has been used by pre-Hispanics since even before the Spaniards have arrived, so pre-Hispanics obviously, and they have used that for to build their homes, for shading, for their walls, even use them as mattress to sleep on. Now, the reason why it's called petatera is because everything is built with these petates, with these wooden beams and ropes. There are no nails, or, well, actually you could see the nail there. But it's nothing is holding it up with screws or nails. They're all with rope and yarn, and not yarn, but pixle, which is a type of rope.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's called Hannikin. Mm-hmm. And all of it is built by hand.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we could go up here now. Please be careful with your head because you will hit your head. I hit my head. You will hit your head for sure.
Okay. Ooh. Ooh. Wow.
Yeah. So welcome to La Petatera. During the festivities of Villa de Alvarez that run for a couple of weeks, there will be rodeo shows, there will be bullfights, there will be concerts that will go on. The capacity of the Petatera is about 5,000 people, and they basically do a test. When it's at its maximum capacity, the public will, at one point during the show, stand up and start to jump.
No.
To see how resistant.
No.
And in 165 years, the bullring has never crumbled. So it is very well built. Now, do you see the numbers that are all around? All these numbers is because there is a total of 70 families that basically take care of their section. So between this beam and this beam, this is a section. Between that beam and that beam, there's another section. Meaning that the families, when they start building, first they set the middle ground, and then they trace a circle, and then they start building. Family number 36 will start building their section. Until family 36 has not finished building their section, family number 37 cannot start. And so on. So it's a group participation, and they have to all work kind of hand in hand. And that's why it takes about 6 weeks to build, and it only takes maximum 2 days to take down, because now the families, the families don't have to wait for the other to take their parts down. They could just take it down right away. So, and so on and so on and so on. And so over there, the doors over there is where the bulls come out, and then they do their show. That is La Petatera.
Cool.
So.
I'm not doing the drum.
No?
No. I mean, I got the camera. I'm good.
Okay.
Good idea, but no.
They love coming to see the horse shows. It's like the big attraction.
The horse shows.
The horse shows, when they decide to do the inauguration for the festivities, they're basically from downtown Colima all the way here to Villa de Alvarez, which is where the Petatera is located. There's going to be a horse parade, and people from all around the state will come in with their horses, will bring their horses, and they will parade along the streets all the way here. So it's a massive, and there are a bunch of horse parades throughout the festivities, but the main ones is in the inauguration at the beginning, and on the first couple days on that first weekend in February.
In February?
Yeah, in the month of February is when they do the festivities. Exactly. So they've been building this now for 165 years, taking it up and bringing it down every year. And this is a recognized by a heritage site from UNESCO. Very few people know about it.
We go live every Saturday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time. That's Chicago time, Houston time. People from all over the world show up and tell us their thoughts, give us questions about living in Mexico. It's a lot of fun. So click the subscribe button so you get a notification and come in and join the fun.
Iniciar por aquí el recorrido, por esta parte, y
entonces aquí ya se va a ver. Okay.
Sí.
Vale.
Y vas a terminar en esta parte de la izquierda donde están esos cuadros grandes.
Okay.
¿Sí?
Gracias.
Por nada, para servirles, bienvenidos.
Gracias.
Por nada.
So what is the name of this place?
To the archaeological site of La Campana. La Campana is the bell. The reason why it's called La Campana is because there is a pyramid shaped like a bell. Now, this is part of the era, the Comala era, which we're talking about the 5th century after Christ to about the 15th century, which is part of that era when everything was built in this area. Now, you know, they're constantly, digging up new pyramids. Unfortunately, the government never has enough funds, to do all the diggings and uncover everything that there is to discover, because basically you can find archaeological findings from here in the heart of Colima all the way up towards the volcano. You can find stuff.
Wow.
So really what this is about and this is a pretty large archaeological site. The thing is that this only represents 1%.
No.
1% of what could be found. Unfortunately, the city has won over, urbanization, and so a lot of it has been destroyed.
No.
Or ends up below ground because they build over it, they dig up, they destroy. And this is the only kind of area that has had, a little bit of conservation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So what you're going to see here are basically the foundations of all of these buildings. A lot of these buildings, were either ceremonial, for ceremonial purposes, I guess for kind of like government. But a lot of the things that you find here are only a guesstimate of what it could be, only because if they say, oh, this is what this building was for, but if it only represents 1%, then maybe we're thinking that these are main buildings and the real main buildings haven't been uncovered yet or have been destroyed. This is the area where they did the juego de pelota. The juego de pelota was a game, quote unquote, that was played with a kind of a rubber ball, and they would hit with their hips. Now, a lot of people would say, oh, this was a game, but a lot of it was for negotiations.
Okay.
And also, to work some contracts out, and even, whoever kind of won the war wasn't actually the ones that actually won, but the ones that would probably even lose out on or get sacrificed. But that is but being sacrificed isn't a punishment. It's an honor.
An honor, okay.
So the people that have lived here, they have found remains with pottery and bones of people that have lived in all of this area from the 15th century, if I'm not mistaken, or the 5th century or 15th century before Christ. So,
before Christ?
Yeah. So they've been around for like 3,000 years.
Wow.
And, but this is not what this is from now. This has been for probably over 1,000 years, which is around the 5th century after Christ.
Okay.
And this civilization that lives here, there's not a lot that is known from the people that lived here. They call them the civilization of the West. And the reason for that is that with a lot of the archaeological findings, they don't correspond to the Aztec culture, and they don't correspond, to the Teotihuacan, which is from the center of Mexico. It doesn't really correspond to the people from there. So they're not quite sure where the people actually originated from. And one of the ways they've defined this civilization as unique to this region is because of their tomb shafts, which is a burial technique that they had where they would dig down a tunnel into the ground for about a meter, up to 3 meters, and then they would dig in these chambers where they would lay in their dead. And that practice was done in Colima, in Jalisco, in parts of Guanajuato, in the small parts of Sinaloa and Nayarit. And that's it. And so that's why they call it the civilization of the West, because of the tomb shafts techniques that they used.
Please leave a comment. Tell us what you think, what you like, what you don't like, where do you want us to go. And if you like the video, click the like button. That helps our channel out. And if you really like the video, click the subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. So who would want to live in Colima?
Well,
I mean, is there industry here? Or?
well, there's, you know, the local commerce, the markets.
Uh-huh.
We'll go and visit a market.
Okay.
But nothing more, really.
Okay.
You know, there's some government offices, but nada out of this world.
Okay.
Okay, I'm gonna see if this parking lot is open.
On a side note, as we were driving through town, Colima has many really nice things. They have a Walmart, a Sam's Club. We went by a Burger King. So it's kind of a sophisticated city. Are there universities here or anything?
So the University of Colima, however, the university is not in downtown.
Okay.
The main campus is towards, let's go this way, towards the outskirts of town also.
Mm-hmm. Ah, this is the square?
This is not, that's
The plaza.
one of the plazas. There are 3 main plazas in the downtown area.
Uh-huh.
This is the one that's behind the cathedral.
Okay. Oh.
I'm sorry, the basilica. It's la basilica. It's la basilica menor. The
Okay.
main basilica is the one in Mexico City. Los Naranjos is one of the famous restaurants of Colima that have been around for many decades.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
And this is the first one that opened, called Los Naranjos. They have a different how do you say, another area, another restaurant in a different part of town that's also pretty famous that people go to. But this is like the original one here downtown.
Okay.
Los Naranjos.
Uh-huh. Huh.
So the Basilica Menor is the major one is in Mexico City, and that's
Uh-huh.
one of the main basilicas of the country, where people go and visit the Virgin of Guadalupe.
Okay.
Here they have the smaller version because they actually venerate the Virgin of Guadalupe in this church, and it's called Basilica Menor for that reason.
Okay. Wow. It's huge, huh? Huge.
Well, let's go walk on the. You want to go around this square first, or you want to go into the main Jardín Libertad?
Not important.
Okay. So it's a hustling and bustling, part of town because they have a lot of the department stores. La Marina it's like the Sears of Colima.
Okay. Is there only one, or are those throughout Mexico?
In Colima, there are a couple in Colima. I'm not aware that there are any in other parts of Mexico.
Okay.
It is run by one family. They basically have a monopoly on the economy of Colima because they're the owners that have the concession for Coca-Cola and Corona beer as well.
Okay.
And they're the owners also of all the kioscos, the
Yes,
OXXO, equivalent.
In Mexico?
Well, kiosco is only in Colima and in certain parts of Jalisco.
Okay.
They're everywhere. They sprouted like mushrooms, like OXXO did. And they're doing a clear competition with OXXO, which I find particularly.
On a side note, I did a search for apartments in Colima, and you can find really nice apartments, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, starting at $300 a month. Between $300 to $500 a month, you can get a nice apartment. If you want to spend more, you can spend more. Okay. Oh, okay. Wow, this is beautiful.
Yeah, it is a beautiful plaza. This is El Andador Constitución. It's one block of just pedestrian, and there is, there are painters.
Underland. Restaurants?
No, I'm in a cafe. The restaurants are all around on the square. So let's go on the square so you could have a view of the building.
Okay. Ooh. Wow. Woo.
So this is where I told you that the symphonic band will play in the evenings in the kiosk. La Basilica, Catedral Basilica, de la Virgen, and this is government right there. Now, what's actually interesting is that it is very unusual to have City Hall built and stuck next to the church. Normally, they'll be across from one another or on the side, and so this is one of the particularities here in Colima, that they're actually built together.
Okay.
This is El Hotel Ceballos. Now it's called Concierge Plaza Colima. It was a Best Western until recently.
Okay.
But this is one of the first running hotels in Colima.
Okay.
So it has a kind of like neo-Gothic architecture.
It's huge, right?
Yeah, it's pretty big. And so all around, and then in front you have the museum on this side over there.
Okay.
Museum, it's worth a visit.
Okay.
And then all around, then you have a bunch of restaurants and bars.
Can we walk around?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
On top of this hotel, this is a little best kept secret. You go into the hotel, take the elevator to the 3rd floor, and then there's a rooftop restaurant and terrace where you have, in the evenings is amazing, to go have some beer from the Cerveceria de Colima. It's the business run by the Cerveceria, the craft beer of the state of Colima.
Okay.
And they have a really good menu also. And all down here in the afternoons is when you're going to see all of these tables fill up
Okay.
with people, having a drink or in the evening or dinner.
It's beautiful.
It's a very nice plaza. Now people here in Colima versus Jalisco, people call it La Plaza Principal, La Plaza.
Okay.
Here they call it El Jardín Principal, the main garden basically, El Jardín.
Okay.
So when people refer to El Jardín, they're talking about the plaza.
Okay. So we're at the archaeological site, and I felt really confident putting the drone up. I put it up. There were no wires, no trees, lots of wide open spaces. And so the drone goes up, and then in my telephone I can see what the drone sees. That's how I get the drone around. And all of a sudden, red text shows up on my phone and it says, no signal. That's only happened to me 2 times. Once in Puerto Vallarta, where there were lots of transformers and power lines, and once in Ajijic, where there were lots of transformers and power lines. I had no control over the drone, but fortunately, the drone is set to return to home. It did so, it came back home, and it landed from right where it took off. I'm going to show you this video clip. You'll see that the image is really bad from the drone. You guys have seen my drone shots. You've never seen any of my drone shots look as crappy as this. So we lost the signal, we got crappy drone shots, and then one of the archaeologists working at the place comes up and says, you can't fly your drone here. So we completed the tour, got in the car, we're headed back to downtown Comala, and I said, Lucie, I don't believe it. I've never lost signal like that before. And she looked at me like I was crazy. She said, Bill, this is a holy site. There's a ton of energy here. There's energy that you can't see here. Maybe that's what affected the signal from the drone. Whatever. Thank you very much for joining us and watching this video. If you want a tour from Lucie, we have a link to a 27-minute interview that we did with her in a previous video, and you can hear all about her, and all of her contact information is in the description below. Click the like button, click that subscribe button. We will see you in the next video. Thank you.